Bitcoin just entered a new bull run. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we are going to discuss why Bitcoin most likely just started a new bull run. From a massive run on market dominance, and a massive run on the price, and a mad dash towards conspiracy theories, investors around the industry are coming up with all kinds of reasons why Bitcoin just began a new bull run, but the question now becomes, are we starting a new bull market? We're going to discuss all of that and more in today's episode of Climate of Crypto, so without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Bitcoin began a massive breakout just under a week ago on Tuesday, June the 20th, breaking above a huge and critical downtrending level of resistance. That trend line shown here began on April the 14th of 2023 when Bitcoin topped out right around $31,500. From there, Bitcoin would go on to put in multiple local highs that continued to confirm the downtrend, and we did finally break through it on Tuesday of this year. That breakout came against most odds because there were quite a few different bearish factors pointing in the direction of Bitcoin having a correction. Number one, the Securities and Exchange Commission attacked the cryptocurrency market very heavily with their lawsuits back-to-back against CZ, Binance, and Coinbase. However, bullish news came in just a couple of days ago. Because you see, before the conspiracy theories, there was simply just the news that BlackRock had announced that they were going to file for a Bitcoin ETF. Now, there's a couple of reasons why that's important. Number one, BlackRock is one of the largest institutional investors in the history of mankind with over 10 trillion, you heard that right, dollars worth of investment under management. On top of that, BlackRock has a near perfect track record of getting ETFs approved. With over 576 ETFs filed for, they have had 575 approved. BlackRock filing for a Bitcoin ETF at this point seems to be basically a guarantee that we are going to finally get a Bitcoin ETF based on their track record, and considering the fact that BlackRock has a long and storied history of getting ETFs approved with a 99.8% approval ratio for every application that they have ever filed with the SEC. On top of that, you must keep in mind that BlackRock, being one of the largest investment management firms in the world, has a lot of sway over the Securities and Exchange Commission. The government wants you to believe that the government's in 100% control and companies have absolutely no influence over them, but we, being knowledgeable citizens, know that's not really the case. I would argue that there is a slim to none chance that BlackRock would attempt to file an ETF that they would get rejected for, because that track record of getting ETFs approved is one of the things that allows them to get ETFs approved. Because they've had so many ETFs approved in the past compared to only having one ever rejected, the SEC is much more likely to approve their ETFs because there's precedent for approving BlackRock's ETFs. BlackRock has shown that they are trustworthy, at least in the way that the SEC views it. Now, whether or not they are is up for debate, but the point is the SEC believes that they are, and they believe that the SEC is not going to get egg on its face for approving a BlackRock ETF, including this Bitcoin ETF more than likely. On that news of BlackRock filing for the ETF, Bitcoin mooned. Now, the question becomes this: can Bitcoin translate this bull run of about $6,000 into a bull market of maybe another 60? Let's discuss. Well, you see, Bitcoin is at the foothills of the mountain that it must climb to return to previous all-time high. Bitcoin originally rallied to $69,000. Bitcoin has recaptured less than half of what it lost during the year of 2022. 2022 was a brutal year for Bitcoin, where Bitcoin would go on to lose nearly 80% of its valuation. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars in market capitalization, in fact, over $1 trillion. There's been a general uptrending trading channel that Bitcoin has been respecting for quite some time here, and we fell back down to backtest that trend line and backtest 25,236 at the same time just a couple of days ago, and we did manage to bottom and bounce. I believe there are two reasons why Bitcoin has bounced so hard other than the BlackRock story, even though that was the number one reason. First and foremost, we have had a huge regulatory attack against the rest of the cryptocurrency market, and that has led to investors pouring in to Bitcoin if they didn't want to leave crypto. Many investors that were in Cardano, that were in Filecoin, that were in many of the other cryptocurrencies listed in the complaints against Binance and Coinbase exited those altcoins, causing them to drop by 20, 30, 40, 50% sometimes, and they put a lot of that money either on the sidelines as dry powder or into Bitcoin. Following the market's eventual bottom here on June 15th, a lot of that dry powder got deployed, and Bitcoin would go on to rally a couple $1,000s, up nearly 7.5%. After we broke this downtrend and BlackRock filed for their ETF, the rest of that dry powder was deployed and Bitcoin would rally nearly $4,000 more. But the second reason that Bitcoin is rallying so much has to do with other charts. So let's look at those. First and foremost, we have been seeing a major uptick in the dominance of Bitcoin ever since the collapse of FTX. Ever since the collapse of FTX, we have seen even those players in the cryptocurrency industry that are natives become more risk averse, and they have been moving away from altcoins slowly and steadily towards Bitcoin. Bitcoin's market dominance right around the time of the FTX collapse was sitting around 38%. Before the SEC's attack, Bitcoin had already rallied up to 46% market dominance, and as of the recording of this video, 50% was briefly, ever so briefly, breached. The reason that rallying market dominance is so significant is because oftentimes what Bitcoin does is it acts like a tsunami. Whenever a tsunami is coming in to pummel and just destroy a coastline, it will suck all of the water out to sea first so that it can build that wave and then inundate the coast. For a little while, sea levels will drop 10 to 15 feet and then they'll be 30 feet higher. That's a similar concept to what happens with Bitcoin. Bitcoin at the beginning of bull markets oftentimes will suck the oxygen out of the room, especially from the altcoins, put it into itself, gain strength, momentum, and then it will go on a major movement. After that tsunami, that tidal wave of bullishness from Bitcoin inundates the cryptocurrency space, then that water, if you will, that metaphorical volume gets spread to the rest of the altcoins. That's what we saw happen during the last bull market. We saw Bitcoin rally aggressively on its market dominance here towards the beginning of the bull market, and then starting right around 2020 when things were really kicking off, the Bitcoin market dominance dropped and got cut nearly in half as the altcoin season kicked in during the back half of the bull market after Bitcoin had proved and paved the way. Bitcoin's market dominance rallying from 36 to 50% is a very strong early warning sign that Bitcoin is about to go into a bull market. But there's a few more. Running through them pretty quickly from shorter time frame to longer time frame, we have a confirmed buy signal now on the daily chart for Bitcoin, which gives us a price target up at $32,000. On top of that, we now have a confirmed buy signal on the 3 daily chart for Bitcoin. This confirmed buy signal is very, very, very important because the last time we saw a confirmed buy signal on Lux Algo, we saw Bitcoin rally by over $15,000. Furthermore, looking out to the weekly chart, we can see that Bitcoin managed to bounce off of the trend catcher from Lux Algo, 25,236, and the 200 weekly exponential moving average, which was sitting right around $25,000 all at once. Because Bitcoin was able to do that, it actually converted that bearish MACD chart cross on the weekly chart that we discussed a few weeks ago. You can find that video right here. Bitcoin managed to turn around and turn this back into a bullish MACD cross above the zero level, which has not happened on Bitcoin since here and here, and when both of those bullish MACD crosses above the zero level flash, we had huge rallies to follow. Furthermore, on the weekly chart, we saw RSI cross above its 14 interval average, which was sitting at 60. That is a huge bullish sign that happens at the beginning of bull markets. A couple of other charts to note would be the SPY. As you can see, the SPY has rallied aggressively, setting a new high at 442 and is currently trying to backtest 430. If we're able to hold that, then that means that the stock market is going to be on a rally. And as you know, Bitcoin and the stock market are highly positively correlated. So when the stocks are going up, Bitcoin normally does too. When the stocks are going down, so too does the Bitcoin market. At the same time that stocks are going up, Dixie has been relatively stagnant and actually moving through a pretty prolonged drop. This may bounce and turn around here in the next couple of weeks, but for at least the next 7 to 14 days, we're likely going to have bullishness coming out of Bitcoin because of the bearishness in the Dixie. The dollar currency index, if you don't know, or the Dixie, is a index that measures the strength of the dollar against a basket of other national currencies, such as the pound sterling, the euro, not a national currency, a regional currency, and the yen, etc. Whenever the Dixie's going down, that's normally a very bullish and positive sign for Bitcoin. All of these factors come into play right around the same time and cancel out one very important thing, and that is the SEC's attack against cryptocurrency. See, the final point I'll make here is that the SEC attacked cryptocurrency, not Bitcoin. Bitcoin was not mentioned in any of those complaints. The SEC came after Changpeng Zhao, Binance, Coinbase, and a plethora of other altcoins. They did not come after Bitcoin because Gary Gensler himself has come out several times and stated, reluctantly, but stated that Bitcoin is a commodity which would put it outside of his regulatory body's purview. That attack against cryptocurrency, I think it took a couple of weeks for people to realize, but institutional investors and retail alike have realized that that actually gives a lot of regulatory clarity. Maybe we don't like where the SEC stands, but at least now we know. There's been so much regulatory uncertainty, and uncertainty leads to FUD because the U in FUD stands for uncertainty. So people have been hesitant to invest in the cryptocurrency market at large because they don't know where the SEC is going to fall. Well, now the SEC has come down hard, but not on all of crypto, just on everything but Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Bitcoin and Ethereum have rallied farther to the upside than where they began when the SEC lawsuit started. When the SEC's lawsuit came out, Bitcoin was trading at $27,000. Now it's trading at $30,000. When the SEC lawsuit happened on June 5th against Binance, Ethereum was sitting at $1886. It's currently sitting right around that level, which is a local high. All of that to say that with this regulatory attack from the SEC, there's been quite a lot of regulatory certainty about how the SEC is going to view the market. It doesn't seem that they're going to come after Bitcoin and Ethereum anytime soon, and maybe never for Bitcoin, which I believe gives many different institutions more confidence to enter the space. That may even be the reason that BlackRock has gone ahead and launched that ETF application now, because they knew that just the fact of them filing the application would be a shot across the bow for the rest of the world, that BlackRock BlackRock was stepping into this industry in an even bigger way than they already had by just investing money. In a nutshell, it may be that Wall Street is ready to accept Bitcoin, but not the rest of crypto. But remember what I said about that tidal wave. Whenever Bitcoin gains a lot of market dominance, it sucks the life out of the altcoins for 6 to 12 months. And then after Bitcoin grows exceptionally, it shares the wealth, and the altcoins end up rallying far higher than they ever had before, and oftentimes outpacing Bitcoin by droves. And that will likely happen again during the next bull market, even if the SEC is trying to attack them. In short, the SEC's war against cryptocurrency cannot be ignored, and it is still a very, very vitally important, impactful event in the cryptocurrency space. But a lot of things just spoke bullish over the next 6 to 12 months for Bitcoin. We shouldn't ignore that either. If you enjoyed today's video and you now have more context about where Bitcoin's been and where Bitcoin's going, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that post notification bell so you won't miss a single episode of Climate of Crypto, and make sure that you sign up for Lux Algo using coupon code JED30 for 30% off at checkout. That's all I got for you guys today. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.